because things are moving fast. A lot of the high frequency on the planet has caused this to be much more instantaneous. As you really identify as the soul, your frequency naturally goes up. And it's a kind of a connectedness between the physical and non-physical realms. Keeping your vibration high or your frequency high is mostly being authentic. You establish the tone of your own energy field, and you don't have to have boundaries to keep something out, because your own field is the filter. When you're at that higher vibration, you start to feel connected with other beings. Everything has that same life force or soul force running through it. And if you open up, you can get information from anything and everything. Getting your mind to not be fighting what actually is happening with the heart, that's part of coherence. When you're in your home frequency in your own field and you're generous, you're allowing other people to feel your essence.
You're gonna be looking for stuff now. I can see it. I can see it in her eyes. I saw it in her eyes. She just lit up. She's like, oh.
What am I getting?
For somebody right now who's feeling so far from being high, where can they start?
Welcome everybody to the Heart Coherence Collaborative. We're so excited. We have Penney Peirce with us today, and it happens to be her 15th year anniversary on her book Frequency, which is such an amazing book. And she has so many incredible things going on, so many exciting stories too that we just got to hear that we're excited for everyone to hear. And so, yeah, Penny's just one of the best in regards to vibration in the world. So we couldn't be more honored to have you here with us today, Penny. Thank you.
Welcome.
Oh, it's such a pleasure, really a pleasure for me.
Yeah, we were having some fun conversation before we officially started about all kinds of things, health things and challenges popping up and weird things malfunctioning. And I would love to hear you talk about how we keep our frequency high through all we're experiencing and going through and things that feel like challenges.
Or how do we keep it however it's supposed to be?
Right. Well, I think part of it is keep tabs on yourself in terms of whether you're going into polarization about something or not, because we don't need to be polarized at all anymore, and especially with the political situation in this country, but really around the world, that we need to hold our own, stay in our home frequency, which is that state of being, I call it. It's when you're identifying with your soul and you feel you are the soul, and here it is in your body, making you up minute by minute. And it's a kind of a connectedness between the physical and non-physical realms, which are together anyway. So your soul is in you. It's not out there somewhere. And I think as you really identify as the soul and not as all the personality stuff and the story and blah, 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 your frequency naturally goes up. And it also helps then to really speed up the clearing process, because everything that's not of the soul suddenly seems so kind of stupid or, like boring. And you can kind of let things go and make more space for your true self to come through. So the clearing process is a big part of all of this work, but it's not so much work anymore. A lot of the high frequency on the planet has caused this to be much more instantaneous, because things are moving fast. The body's moving fast. Your emotional body's moving fast. Your mental body's moving fast. And that means it's attuning more to wisdom, love, joy, natural states of being that are spiritually based and not fear-based. So I don't know if that helps answer it. It's we can go into more aspects of it, but I think keeping your vibration high or your frequency high is mostly being authentic. Not being fast, and buzzy, because that's actually low frequency. That blocks the flow of all the clear-minded, love-based insight, revelation, knowledge that you naturally have already. It's not like we have to go get it. We already have it.
That's such a good reminder. I love that. And I'm curious, you wrote the book Frequency. It's on its 15th year. anniversary, what big changes have you actually seen in actual frequency in
Mm.
regards to its relationship with humans? Because we hear a lot about, raising a vibration on the planet. Seems
Mhm.
like stuff's going on. I want to hear it from you. What the heck is
Yeah.
going on?
Well, I think part of it is just that when I first wrote the book, it was not too many people were that aware of it then, and so now it's much more of a popular, oh yeah, kind of thing. It's just common sense. And still it's a leading edge topic. It's the book just got a whole new life and it's selling again, it's like interesting. It's like a new wave of people is coming in and understanding this whole frequency dynamics of life and how things work. And but of late, I have, especially let's say since middle of last year, maybe earlier last year, but especially from the end of last year through the turn of the year, um, I have felt like, what could I say? It's like identity is not that important. Like I feel like I've dropped a lot of my story about who I think I was or why I am the way I am, and all the explanations and all of that, because I'm just kind of a white hole with stuff coming through, like, and yes, I have my story and I can use it and it's fun and it's creates links and credibility. So I'm not poo-pooing it at all, but it's not like I am that so much. And when you leave your story so much and you allow more to come through, suddenly you get all these revelations about how things work in the world, how consciousness works. And that's why I kind of feel like as your frequency increases, the level of your consciousness becomes much more sophisticated, more pure and refined. And you start to become aware of nuances on things. Like, for instance, sarcasm now has become a form of violence to me. Like certain ways that we behave with each other, they don't have to be that exaggerated to be cruel. There are
Mm.
subtle things that we do of finishing each other's sentences for them, you know, that's not respectful. There are a lot of, things like that have become very aware to me. And then staying in the frequency where you're comfortable, where that knowledge is normal for you, that kind of higher knowledge. Then when you go out in the world and you're at Walmart or someplace, and you're feeling what's around you, they're loving people, but they're also not in that frequency level. And so there's a kind of challenge about coming down in frequency to match and communicate with people, but not stay there, or you get weighed down. And it's more, it affects you more now than it did before, I think.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? Or
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
feeling some of these things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about empaths and what
Mm,
happens with them and how they can handle their energy?
yeah, because I am one. And uh, I think first you have to get a very clear sense of your own home frequency. I call that sometimes your preferred state.
Hmm.
It's like I I have a quick way of thinking of mine is I just feel cheerful, basically a simple cheerful, or like I had a pink Angora sweater feel once,
Mm.
that was like, other people have told me that theirs feels more like a rhythm, or other ways of noticing a state of being that it makes you feel good about yourself, that you like yourself.
Hmm.
And so you need to have almost like an energetic snapshot of that state, that when you backslide out of it one way or the other, you go, oops, wait, now I'm feeling deprived. I don't feel quite right. Just a minute. Let me breathe and come back into and reestablish my cheerfulness or whatever. Um, and and then think about things. So it's a habit of recentering back into your own energy field. and knowing that you establish the tone of your own energy field, and you don't have to have boundaries to keep something out, because your own field is the filter. And anything that's of that vibration shows up in your field. And those things that are not really of your vibration don't tend to show up so much anymore. They might show up if it's something you need to work on, or if it's a last gasp of an old program that you're trying to get rid of, and clear. But pretty much things start to settle, and you settle into this new thing. And then people show up who are on your wavelength. And often then there are these collaborations that I call this the convening, where people just start showing up in each other's fields when they're of the same vibration. They share a field.
Mm.
And then they often have gifts and talents that fit together like puzzle pieces. Like there are projects that want to happen, or conversations that need to happen between, like a lot of groups online now who are sharing, just to see, well, what happened to you last week, and to get other subtle points of view, a degree different from the way it happened to me. And, oh, I get it, and that sharing is very important right now.
Mm.
Does,
Yeah.
does that help? I mean, and
Yeah, I love that. I've
empathically,
actually never heard anyone say that as advice to empaths. I think that's such good wisdom.
because you always say, oh, I have to keep it out. I'm too sensitive. No,
Right.
you're not sensitive. Just like if you feel you have to rescue everybody,
Yeah.
well, that's a mistake of perception,
Right.
Mm.
right?
Yeah, it's true.
And and other people want to rescue you if you feel you need it. That's a mistake of perception.
Mm.
You can change your reality by thinking differently. Honestly, you don't have to be rescued. You have to be reminded, of your true essence and energy. And this is the way your reality will be. Just return to it. Then the people who are not feeling that way, you can include them in your field. And the field will start to almost telepathically, I call it kinesthetic telepathy now. It's kind of like a tactile form of telepathy that kind of goes in, and the body starts to recognize the vibe of it and repattern itself.
Mm.
And the field does a lot of the work.
Mm.
It doesn't require so much, I have to change them so I'll feel better.
Mm.
It's
not a good vibe.
It's another mistake of perception.
Yeah, that one doesn't work so well. And a lot of that.
When you were speaking, it made me think of there's this Tony Robbins priming exercise where he puts you in this really high vibrational state, and it makes me feel so amazing. And like over the past year, I've had multiple people ask me what I do for a living, and I say I just do this Tony Robbins as much as I can, and I see what shows up in my life. And I was wondering, like, is it that simple from your perspective? If I just spend my time doing these things as much as I can that put me in this peak state, that raise my vibration, is that the most important thing I can really be doing?
As long as you know that that's you.
It is, yeah.
That high vibration is you.
Mm. Yeah.
And when you're at that higher vibration, you start to feel connected, not empathically overwhelmed, but you start to feel connected with other beings and trees and birds, and everything has that same life force or soul force running through it. And if you open up, you can get information from anything and everything, but it's whatever you need. And sometimes, we need things that our conscious mind hasn't recognized yet. So we get these odd experiences that come and what is that was all about? And then get quiet, get in your high vibration, ask, and have a way of receiving, whether it's direct writing or dreaming or just getting a light bulb going off over your head. Yeah, but it works to raise the frequency to go beyond a little bit your normal state, let's say. because it can be almost egotistical to think I'm in a higher vibration than they are, and that shuts it down.
Right, right.
And yeah,
Our mission here at the Heart Coherence Collaborative is to get people in touch with the healing power of the heart.
And we really need your help. Right now, only 1% of viewers subscribe. We are aiming to take that number to 6%.
The reason why we want to do that is the more people that subscribe, the more people in the world can learn the magical practice of heart coherence.
So please help us out. If you've ever listened, if you love this message, please just take a moment to subscribe.
Thank you so much. We love you.
We love you.
To your point, like so many of my ideas of life come from my time in this exercise. The light
Yeah.
bulb moments, like
Yeah.
all of them, you know, it's so cool.
Yeah.
right.
For anybody who's out there who feels really far from a high vibration kind of state, what would you recommend for somebody right now who's like angry, all obsessed with politics, depressed, feeling so far from being high? Where can they start?
I think it always starts with you. It's like, this is the origin point for your entire reality, including politics, including all this awful stuff that's happening in the world right now. Those are remnants of old fear-based thinking that are surfacing now so that we can become conscious of them. It's not that the world is going to hell. It's that the subconscious mind is emptying. And we're swimming around in a bunch of junk, right now. There's all these fears. So take a breath, come back into yourself, your center, strike your tone, if you're like a tuning fork, and here's my home frequency, and get the field inside you and all around you to feel unified at the level that you are comfortable functioning at. And then raise it, maybe just like, oh, I could be a little bit more aware, or a little bit more loving, or a little bit more joyful, or interesting, or interested. So people who are really angry, I feel like frustration and anger is caused by giving your power away to something else that you think is in the outside world, separate from you, and that has power over you. And then that whole polarization thing starts up, and you think you have to fight or defend yourself or leave. Fight or flight stuff takes off. And then you've got adrenaline running the show instead of heart. So it's a habit, isn't it? Don't you think that to stop a minute and go, just a minute, I don't like the way I was being. I don't feel good. This is not, being angry. It might let off steam, but it doesn't feel good to my body. And blaming others doesn't feel good. Because you can do that as much as you want, but it still is going to come back and keep reminding you that you're the one that's causing this.
Yep.
So we have, in a weird way, we're kind of like your little minions, because you started this frequency work, right? And now we're learning the heart coherence stuff, and we've created this fun event that really the intention is to help people raise their frequency and live a life that's better in all the ways for them, and what we do is we send everyone a heart coherence meditation to do every day for 30 days. And there's thousands of people that do this together. I'm curious, first of all, your thoughts on how that is affecting everyone, but I'd also love to hear your thoughts on like the collective conscious of when people come together and raise their frequency together as a group.
It's very powerful. It really is. And what you're doing, I think, is going to spread.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a very powerful idea. And I remember many years ago, I was working with a trance medium named Kevin Ryerson. He's pretty well known from Shirley MacLaine, and working with him. And we were told he channeled John the Beloved. And so we had a huge event that we made, and he was doing his thing and channeling. And he said that the meditation for peace that Yoko Ono did for John Lennon after he died, that was a worldwide thing. At 7 p.m. all around the world, whatever. We would meditate for world peace. And people did it. And I don't know when I forget what year that was, 1980 or something. But they said that right after that meditation, there was supposed to have been the assassination of Reagan, the Queen, I think, and the Pope. All three were supposed to have been assassinated. And the entity said, this really, the meditation changed the flow of events.
Wow.
So much so that all those three lived.
Wow.
And that stuck with me. Something that seems ineffable, like it shouldn't really be. It's kind of woo-woo, but it really did something. So I think what you're doing is of that nature.
Mm.
That just gave me chills, because one of the most beautiful moments of my life was my grandparents, who were the most just peaceful, loving people, took me to see the Pope at Giant Stadium. And there was a moment when before he came out, the whole stadium was singing Alleluia, and it started raining.
Ooh.
And doves flew down. And I just thought, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have had that moment with my grandparents. That was one of the most beautiful ones.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
Mm.
Ooh, that gave me chills.
Yeah. It's such an exciting thing to think that we could be affecting things. And I know we are. And even if it's not preventing the assassination of the Pope, if we could be making just one family a little bit more peaceful, so one kid has less trauma, like
I mean, it goes out in ripples like that. You never know, how a book I wrote in 1995 is affecting millions of people actually around the world. The Intuitive Way was the first book, and it's still, popular. Somebody told me once, your book goes out and makes friends for you. Because I'm pretty introverted. But I wanted to tell you my heart story.
Yes.
Yes.
Because this was like 2 years ago now, almost to the day. I had no inkling of anything, but I felt funny during the middle of the night, almost like my heart felt like solid. I felt like, it was a weird feeling. I could really feel it sitting in my chest. And I got up in the morning and I thought, something's not right. I have no pain, nothing. And I looked up heart attack symptoms in women and all this stuff. And then I thought, I'm going to call my brother-in-law, who's a doctor. And he said, oh, and I took my blood pressure and it was really low. And he said, get over to the, outpatient thing. And they sent me to the ER, and the ER said, you were having acute heart failure. And they put me in the ICU like that a few hours later. And I'm like, well, I don't know what's happening to me. This is weird. And so my mitral valve had blown open, and I found out later that if it had gone on for 2 more days, I could have died, because I was already having this cardiogenic shock where the organs will start to shut down if they don't get enough oxygen. So anyway, I was in there for 3 weeks. I had open heart surgery, and I almost died on the table. And I didn't know, and I came back. I just felt so lucky. But the funny thing was, before all this, maybe, I've been writing a book on transformation and money. And it came to me as I was writing how powerful gratitude and generosity are, because they're like 2 parts of one thing. And they are states of being. If you really feel into them and what they are, they're so pure, and they allow the soul to come through. And so that hit me, and I said to myself, I am going to stop being in deprivation consciousness.
Yeah.
where I felt like I had to be frugal and not pay, get the good deals and all this stuff. And I want to be 100% loving. And I didn't say I think I'll be, I choose to be 100% loving now, whatever that means. Like the next week, I'm in the hospital. And so, so the whole trip and everything was great. I had a wonderful doctor. All the nurses were great, everything. My sister came and stayed with me, and we hardly ever had much time together. And I did not have any, I thought, well, why didn't I have any near-death experiences or out of the body experiences or something cool? No, nothing. So, but I knew because the surgery got postponed until the 22nd, which is coming up here as the 2-year anniversary, which was the equinox. And some kind of portal, metaphysical portal had opened. And I found out later it was like a big, powerful day. And I figured, well, I must have accessed a lot of stuff while I was out, because I feel different. One of my friends looked at me and said, "You look different." She said, "You're on a new timeline." Like, I don't know what that means. And anyway, so I'm recovering, sitting on my sofa watching some stupid TV program. And suddenly I see my life review in front of my face, like a film strip.
Whoa.
Going off into the past. Like that's what you're supposed to do when you die. You see everything. Well, I saw the whole thing, and all the little dots on the timeline were like events, all the minutes, the moments, the events. And I actually went into one of them, like way back when I was doing a mailing for my promotion, where before computers, where you had to design and go have it printed and paste it up and make a bunch of copies and like organize the stickers and the zip codes and all this stuff. And I was just sitting there at my desk. I was sitting at my desk doing all the things you do, not protesting, because that's what you did then. It was slower, and then I went way back to like age 2 or 3 or somewhere in there, when my mother was telling me that she believed in reincarnation and that she had lived in another life. And I was like, yeah. And then that I saw paved the way for the next insight that came, and the next one. And all these sequences of events were like co-created by me and everybody, like the we. And then it was so well engineered. I was sitting there going in awe of how a life is formed and how people came to help me at these right moments, or I got a dream, or, whatever it was that put me on my path at a very early age. And so I'm sitting there in awe, and I go, wow, I could write about this. This could be really great. And then I went, yeah, but I'm not that interested in it. It's like, I don't really, I could use it. I can tell stories from it. It'll be fun, but that's not me anymore. I don't need to hold it so tightly to myself, because I'm just like, I saw a white hole with stuff coming through. And then other things started coming in. And like, I think we spoke of earlier a little about the new perceptual abilities that were coming, and the new ways of understanding what was happening energetically started to dawn on me. And I realized things were happening an awful lot faster than they had been before. And at that point, I realized the whole heart thing was a shortcut. That's what my guidance said. It's just a shortcut. You weren't moving fast enough to get to where things are. And so it's been very fascinating, the whole process. And then also the whole idea of listening to the left brain and the doctor's explanations of everything. And okay, you're past the protocol now, so we're not going to, deal with you unless you get a defibrillator. And I'm going, I don't think so. But then my friends are saying, I see your heart, it's got full of little sparkles of light. And I'm like, I don't know. So how do we merge the left and right brain views about the heart is a physical thing, yes, and it's an energetic thing. And I got lots of insights about what the heart actually is.
Yeah.
But it has been such a fascinating experience, and now I'm fine, pretty much just fine, I think, like,
Yeah.
but maybe that's part of coherence,
Mm.
of getting your mind to not be fighting what actually is happening with the heart, or why the heart would need to do that. Like something energetically within my own being, or me and everybody, said, we'll do this right now for you, and then it'll be fine. Just keep your head in the right space and you'll be fine.
Mm.
It's been quite a teaching.
I really appreciate you passing that along at this time. As you know, I've been going through a lot of what seems to be heart issues, and I've seen every heart doctor in, every specialty. They told me my heart's completely fine, but every night I feel like I'm having heart attacks. And, just your point about it is happening for a reason. And ultimately, I believe it's going to be a shortcut. I know that intuitively, that whatever this is for my highest and best. There's times where I'm sitting there like thinking I'm going to die. But just what you just said to me makes me really feel like, you know what, just surrender back into that. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Whatever's happening is actually for my highest evolution. And I feel that.
It helped me to actually go in and become my heart. You
Yeah.
might try that, because I feel like when you do that, you'll just kind of get the sense that I'm great. I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
Something else is impinging on that true full experience.
Mm.
And if you can
Yes.
find out what those things are, that'll relieve it, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's funny you say this because right before this conversation, about an hour ago, I was actually looking at the anatomy of a heart, trying to see what's around it, so that because I don't even know how to go into the organs around it because I don't know what they are yet. So I'm going to take that flight in there and start feeling them all out, see what's going
Yeah.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. One other thing I want to touch on that I really love that you just said was the generosity plus the gratitude. We hear so many people talk about gratitude, 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 but my direct experience is if you don't have that generosity, it's almost like you can manifest anything you want, but it'll be taken away just as quick because
Because you still believe that you have deprivation.
that's right. Yeah,
That's the underlying belief. And then you try to do something to correct it, but you're not really believing it, or not even believing. I don't like that word anymore, but experiencing
yeah.
the abundance that you have access to, and that everybody does, but you can give easily.
Mm,
And it's such a joy
mm,
to do it. And then in that spirit of that joy, openness, spaciousness, then more floods into you.
yeah. Yeah, it also takes so much surrender to truly be generous. Like I feel like that's a big bridge to your higher self.
It
And
is, because we're all trained tit for tat, just
yeah,
I'll give this and get it's transactional stuff.
right. I'm gonna incorporate that, a little generosity prayer every morning. You're gonna be looking for stuff now. I can see it. I can see it in her eyes. I saw it in her eyes. She just lit up. She's like, "Oh."
What am I getting? I'll be doing it too, so you may receive this as well. No, but it is so true. Like, not even just money, but there's a way, even like emotionally, like sometimes you don't even want to apologize because you feel like you're going to expose yourself, and that person is not going to really be sorry. Like, there's all kinds of ways that we're not
Right,
generous or don't want to, like, almost like give our most kind, loving self. And that does come down to a generosity thing.
it does. Yeah.
I love this as a reminder. And I'm
And
thinking,
it's also, you know, when you're in your home frequency in your own field and you're generous, you're allowing other people to feel you, you know, your essence.
Mm.
And you're not trying to teach them or heal them or do anything with your willpower toward them. You're just letting them be there and have a feel of it. It's like training a dog, you know, in a way. You're like,
Mm.
let the dog feel who you are. Don't try to control them, and they'll be very affectionate. You know, they'll do the same thing. People
yeah,
are like that too. And you get around someone who's just has that as an innate sense, and you relax, and then you start being that way. It's easier.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's such a quality that I love in people like my grandparents that I was talking about. I mean, they didn't make a lot of money. I have totally wealthy family members that I received, you know, just very small presents from. But like my pop, like he didn't have a lot of money. He had 8 children. There was 28 grandkids. And we didn't have a lot of money when, you know, we were young.
Mm.
And he was always like stuffing a 20 in my pocket and saying like, don't put this in your mom's purse. Don't say anything. He was so generous, and he, not like he was trying to receive anything, but what he did
Yeah.
receive is that at the end of his life, unlike other family members who were just like alone, he was surrounded by people who would have taken care of him for the next 15 years gladly, done
Mhm.
anything for him. So it does.
That's a great, because it does, I think the true reward of that gratitude and generosity is the really experience of being love, not loved, but being the love yourself. And
Mm.
so then you don't need any,
Yeah.
but what are you going to do with the love? You're going to play in it, you
Right.
know, let's create in it. Let's be with each other in it. And that's all souls want to do, you know, really,
Mm,
is share it, make things out of it, you know, flow it around. And that's what your grandfather really got to do. He had that field of love that he got to just bask in.
yes. And he was the most generous. He was the person that, you know, if you needed a room painted, if he was just always, he was always there.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
it makes me think about, you know, other emotions and maybe like the antidote to them. Because that thinking about generosity and then that feeling a lot of people have of lack and scarcity, I think
Mhm.
one for a lot of people, especially in the age we're living in social media, is jealousy. Like so much looking
Comparing.
outward and comparing, and
Yeah.
and everybody's got a fake life online.
Mm.
So you're comparing your life to just this total. I mean, I know people very deeply, and the things they're doing online and the things I know about them, they're just so far away. So it's helpful to know that, but it's hard. It's like you buy in. So what can we do as a society and individually
It's like
with,
everybody's creating avatars of themselves,
I
you know,
know it's so
and
weird.
instead of just being themselves. Maybe there'll be an authenticity backlash coming soon.
That would
But
be nice, right?
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Because
But
yeah, what can we do to just get out of that energy? What energy can we be in to not buy into all the jealousy energy?
I get a feeling that some of the people, the soul groups that are involved in that a lot, have not been incarnating a lot in the physical plane. They've been in higher frequency realms, like mental realms or something,
Mhm.
and they don't quite get how the physical works or how you're supposed to feel in a body and bring everything in. So this is what I'm getting, is that there's a little bit of a lack of a sense of what self is in the body.
Mm.
And so a there's a couple steps missing in the middle of this process, but then they're leaping into, well, if I look good, that's the way everybody thinks online, the movie stars and blah, blah, blah. And if I do all this and I have money and I'm um, loud or whatever and colorful, then I can protect myself against, you know, the negativity in the world or a
Mm.
lack of self-esteem or whatever. I think it's a lack of experience in certain ways that is causing it.
Mm.
Um, I think a lot of them are highly intuitive, actually, very empathic, very sensitive. And if they would just get into themselves and start using those abilities, we would have a big convening,
Mm.
you know, of, remember, somebody's been talking about the telepathy tapes now, and a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
these things are getting pretty popular.
Mhm.
That if another whole group came online with intuition and working with the sensitivity of the body and the heart and direct knowing and so forth, wow, we could tip the scales,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah, it's really making me. I've never heard anyone put into that perspective, but really, yeah, we're living outside our body in this
Yes.
imaginary world, and it's crazy. It's like crazy,
Yeah,
but you know,
yeah.
so many people are doing it. And one thing
Mhm.
I wanted to go back to that you said at the very beginning, because we're learning like some updated frequency hacks here. You talked about speed and how people think, you know, it's like rushing is not actually going to get you a higher vibration, but people think so. Similarly to kind of how we think that going out there is going to raise our vibration. So I'd love to just hear you talk about speed in regards to the frequency.
I think that
Speed, the drug. No, I'm
No,
just
just
kidding.
kidding.
you're right. No. No,
Penny's an
I
expert
think
on methamphetamines.
I think there's an illusion that, like that getting jacked up, is high frequency.
Mm,
And and that's a willpower thing where
mhm,
you're making yourself go faster.
mm,
I notice how many young people really speak very fast. So really, really, and some of them on the phone, I can't even like decipher between the words. This,
yeah,
um, and yet there's a sense of wanting to be successful again in the outer world's terms, to make money and get a six-figure salary when you graduate from college, or like things that are a little bit outrageous expectations without having experience
yeah.
to back it up. Um, but so yeah, speed with willpower based on it actually slows you down. With anything where you feel like you have to do it with force or willpower or cleverness or control, it's a clenching of the energy in the body, and it makes it impossible for the energy of the soul to really flow through easily. When you relax and let go and open up and be more spacious and relaxed, then stuff flows through, but you've got to stay alert and catch it and say, well, what am I noticing now? What am I noticing now? What am I noticing now? What do I feel like doing that's just right now? And then it doesn't have to be forever. Let me wait and see if I like it again in 10 minutes from now. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, I'll keep doing it. But it's a lot of movement and checking in, and then checking in while you're in movement and feeling what that is, and then feeling the liminal space between things. And that's really powerful. That's the being. And it can do things so powerfully, so fast. That's what is it? The slow, what is it? Eckhart Tolle says, slow is the new fast or whatever.
I love that.
Something like that. And I have also felt in various people I've read for that there's a kind of an impatience that's involved, because people come in with soul knowledge and they know what they're here for at a deep level. And the climate isn't quite right yet. The frequency isn't quite high enough yet. And yet they want to do it.
Yeah.
And they want to get ready and they want to make it happen faster. And they push. And then they mess themselves up sort of and like have stumbling blocks. But it's all out of enthusiasm, and if you just relax, everything will come to you and it'll be very fast, but you'll be calm and happy.
Hmm. Yeah, what I heard you say too, what came through me is just be in space, but not in time. Like kind of
Right, in the present moment. There's no
yeah.
more linear time with the high frequency consciousness. linear thinking is too slow.
Yeah.
I have to go from A to B and cross this empty gap. How am I going to cross an empty gap with willpower? And or I've got to get my goal and then keep my goal. And it's all this tightness, and you can feel it, in your body when you get like that. And it's afraid of something not working, afraid of not having something not.
It's a great reminder.
I would love to, lastly, ask you, intuition, you mentioned intuition and it's so important and you wrote a book about it. What is one thing that you would like to communicate about intuition to everybody who's listening now that might be something they haven't heard and might help them tune in and be more in tune with their intuition?
I often talk about noticing what you're noticing. It's a kind of a mindfulness, an everyday go along, go to the store, do whatever, but notice. And then as you're noticing, why are you noticing? If you assume that my inner self is talking to me and showing me these things, these situations, or this song on the radio, or that person's action in the store that got my attention, why did I notice that? It always is what you notice relates to something you're working on in yourself to clear something that's in the way, or to open you to a new talent or an ability or something that would be good for you. So that's one key thing, and it's not difficult to do. You just have to remember kind of to check in and use the stuff of your life as a teaching. And I also feel that relates to another principle, which is, I call it radical trust, which is I trust myself to notice what I need to notice. I trust the flow to bring me what I need to notice. I trust that everything's in its right order, that I'll get what I need exactly when I need it. I trust the other people to be part of this flow, to bring me messages or act out so I can see something I need. And I trust myself and my impulses to go ahead and blurt something out that I would never say usually, but then you do and it works for everybody, and that kind of thing. They call it go with the flow, but I say stay in the moment and let the flow show you things, because it's not, I always think of the flow as the collective consciousness of all beings evolving together. So what you need next, everybody needs you to have next so that you can do the thing for them next that they need. It's all so coordinated, so if you doubt yourself and you don't allow yourself to notice your messages and your abilities, you're hurting other people in a certain way, denying them of something they might need. So it helps you not have so much lack of self-worth. You might as well go ahead, and do it. Share.
Well, thank you so much. This has been a wonderful conversation, and we definitely love to have you on. I know it was crazy with everything going on with us, but
that was fine. It was all part of that flow thing.
We're so happy to be here with you. And
great.
last question, we just love to learn how we can support you, how anyone listening can get in touch with all your great work that you're doing.
Yeah. All my books are having a kind of renaissance right now, new covers and new content. And so that's interesting to me that I didn't do anything to make that happen. But my website is the best thing. It's just my name, pennypeirce.com, but it's spelled, my name is spelled funny. It's EY on the first name and EI on the last name.
Yeah, we'll put it down below.
Okay, great.
And
there's a lot of free stuff on there and articles, and I'm also on Substack now, and I'm
cool.
Posting a lot of different kinds of writings and stuff on there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, we would love to have you back on.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love this. Was great fun.
This is great.
All right. Well, everybody, go get Penny's books, and we hope to see you soon. We love you.
Sending love to everybody.
Good luck with the coherence thing.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Bye-bye.